What's up, everybody? It's your boy Justin Rodriguez, your favorite lender here at Neighborhood Loans, and we are back with another episode of Cafecito Talks, and we have a very, very special guest. And I know I say that every single time, but I'm telling you guys right now, you guys definitely want to hear because she is the queen of entrepreneurship, guys. Multiple businesses, and she's helped personally with my clients, and she probably don't even know it, but Johanna Diaz, thank you so much for coming out. I really do
No, I'm the
appreciate it.
special one. I don't care who you had before.
I know you're the number one, number one.
The one and only.
Yeah, but thank you guys so much for coming out. But I wanted to really shine light. I mean, you're everything at the epitome of me. Like, I want to do exactly what you're doing, right? And that's building a brand, building a business, and you're doing that not only over here, you built it here, but also you're doing it in Puerto Rico, which has so many different benefits to it. But we want to hear from the start. Let us know how many biz you had, how did you get into the business that you're in, and we want to know everything. So
Cool. Okay, so I'm Johanna Diaz. You know what? This year, that was my thing. I wanted to create just my brand, Johanna Diaz Inc. I didn't want to be attached to like a business, right? I wanted to be like Johanna Diaz, the person who can, hook you up, whatever you need, like, connections and stuff like that. So, anyways, I started in 2015. I came from a very entrepreneurial family. So my parents always had stuff. I'm Colombian. I
uh-huh.
know a lot of people think I'm Puerto
I know, I
Rican, but
thought
I'm
so too.
Colombian.
Uh-huh.
My husband's Puerto Rican, and we live in Puerto Rico, and I love the island, but I'm Colombian.
Mm-hmm.
So my family, very entrepreneurial. They always had businesses. They had, they ran restaurants and electronic shops and stuff like that. So I think I got that. Like, I always wanted to
Yeah.
own a business and like be my own boss or whatever. So 2015, I started Credit RX from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Came up with the name of the company. I had a little room in my apartment in Chicago and just started grinding.
What were you doing before that?
I was a manager at a bank.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Actually, I learned a lot from that bank.
And that's how you kind of transitioned into the Credit
Yes, I
RX space?
learned all of the processes and the fact that you have to really implement different strategies for your business, and you have to be very focused, and everything has to be, recorded, and things have to be, just very organized.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started my business, I tried to do the same. So I started Credit RX in 2015, and it now, it's pretty grown right now. I no longer run the business.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
girl Ermari runs the
Shout out to
business
her.
for
That's my
me.
girl too.
Yes. I think at some point in your business, you have to realize that you might be a stumbling block.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you have to like put yourself aside and just let the business grow. Because I feel like at some point I was doing that. I was kind of like, having everybody on hold because the
Mm-hmm.
boss wasn't answering,
Yeah.
questions or saying yes or no. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided this year that, January 1st of this year, Ermari was going to take over.
Take over
And
everything.
I said, you know what? Here's my baby. Run it. She works it like it's her baby.
Mm-hmm.
So she just, she's my right hand. She's the one that's running the operations. And I'm very blessed
Yeah.
because I get to say, someone works as hard or even more than I do.
That's what I
So
love about our peoples, though. It don't matter.
yeah,
They treat it like it's their
it's
baby.
amazing. So 2015 as well, my husband and I started investing in Airbnbs in Puerto Rico. So we bought our first property. It was a 2-unit in Aguadilla, which is in the west coast of the island. And we started kind of like, shaping up that business a little bit. We didn't know much about it. The following year, we bought another condo in the south of Puerto Rico. And it just took off. I remember I posted the property on Airbnb July 1st or July 3rd. And by the 7th of July, it was absolutely packed. I was like, oh my God, this was 2015. I was like, oh, this is a great business. So I was kind of like growing Credit RX. And then I had that Airbnb. And I was kind of like, I remember I had like calendars and I used to like block off like, okay, 3 nights, and then the name of the person. And so but I lived in Chicago. So I know that you can manage your business from anywhere as long as you know how to connect the dots at the place where you're at. So like when we will go to Puerto Rico just to visit, we will find like, okay, I didn't like this electrician, I'm gonna go find another one. And so I would make teams in every place. I would invest in Puerto Rico, and I'll have like my cleaning lady, my electrician, my plumber, the person that was gonna cut my grass, and I'll just make a little team so that I could keep it. Not even. My husband only has one uncle in Puerto Rico. I just walked the streets, man. I remember when we bought the first property, my husband and I, we were standing in front of the property and we're like, what the heck? Like, what the heck? What do we do with this thing? This is not, wood and drywall. This is straight up cement, right? Concrete. So we didn't know anything about it. But we started breaking walls and just going crazy. And then all of a sudden, like some electrical stuff was like picking out. And I was like, what the hell? We're gonna do it. So we just started walking the streets and we're like, hey, do you know an electrician? Do you know a plumber? And that's how we made our team. And so we use the same model. Well, now we use Facebook, like I don't have to walk the streets anymore, but the same model. And then we just interview people and we make them a team. So we're like, okay, cleaning lady here, cleaning guy here. Oh, I have a cleaning guy. He's like the best. So cleaning guy here, and like, like the electrician, and, whatever the case may be. So I kind of, started doing that for my own properties. And so, running Credit RX, and then we ended up opening 787 Vacation Rentals because that Airbnb business started, popping. And I wanted to make it an LLC. I didn't want anything with my name. So, we created those two, and we kept working, kept working. So in 2019, no, 18, my husband kept telling me, Joanna, you really need to like look into the benefits of running the business from Puerto Rico. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I want to move to the island. I love Chicago. This is like, I've been here for 20 years. This is my home. So he's like, yeah, but you really need to look into it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I started reading and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. What the heck? So we ended up going to Puerto Rico 2018 ish, maybe 17. And we sat down with some government officials, and they kind of like explained it to us what the incentives were about, and how they were really driving businesses to the island, exporting services or products from the island to wherever, right? And so if you had that model, you were able to take advantage of tax incentives. So I was like, okay, I'm doing it. And so in 2020, I opened the call center in Puerto Rico. Yeah. So we opened it, we went in January 2020. And then I made the whole call center was like, done in like 2 months and a half. And then March 3rd is when we opened. And then, of course, the pandemic, whatever. And then we went back and we kept working, and we took advantage of the tax incentives. The government of Puerto Rico gives you up to $25,000 for equipment. So we got the desk, we got the computers, we got the backup chargers, we got the generator, in case we lose light, whatever. And we packed up the place and we started working hard. And we had the best year. We had like the best 3 years of our company because of the fact that we were getting all these beautiful incentives. And so October 2019, no, not 19, 21. 21, I put a very small something on Facebook, and I'm like, who wants to invest in Puerto Rico? Like, who would like to know anything about investing in Puerto Rico? I had already bought many properties in Puerto Rico. We were already developing, Airbnbs, but in our own portfolio, my husband and I. So we had like long-term rentals, and we tapped into student housing, which is great. College Town in Mayagüez, we tapped into that, and then we just kind of like started growing. And I'm like, man, if I could just like show it to somebody, like maybe they like this kind of stuff. And I put it up, and I got flooded.
Oh shit.
I got flooded. And I was like, okay, this is
There's a
another
business.
business.
Yeah.
So sure enough, I came to Chicago, October 2021, and I just threw a big old freaking event. I don't even remember where it was. I think it was on Ravenswood or whatever.
Ravenswood, yeah, yeah.
And I got the place, I got the food, and I just invited people. 60 people came. Like, we want to buy in Puerto Rico. Man, talk to us about what's going on in Puerto Rico. And they had already followed me with like the Airbnbs and stuff. So they're
Mhm.
like, okay, well, let me see what you got. And we just started like showing them, like, look, you can buy this house for this much, this building for this much. And they're like, oh my God. Like, my clients are buying 4, 5, 7 units for 100,000, 125,000. You know what I mean? And so, that was really catchy. So come May 2022, right? So this one's 21. May 2022, I'm like, man, I gotta get my license. And in Puerto Rico it's very different. You don't have to be 2 years in business to become a brokerage,
Mhm.
a managing broker. So I went straight to managing broker because I have a master's degree. So they're like, okay, well, go straight to.
Mm.
I'm like, I'm the boss.
I'm the owner,
Open up
yeah.
the business.
Yeah.
So I got the managing broker's license, and I recruited 2 girls that are freaking fire.
Yeah.
These Puerto Ricans don't play.
They don't mess
They
around.
don't
I love my
play.
people. I love
These
my
people
people.
do not play. These girls, they're passionate. I was
Mhm.
telling you, they fight hard.
Yeah.
They love hard.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
firecrackers. So I got 2 girls working all my leads and all the showings and stuff like that. And so that's how Milestone Group came to life. So yeah, we're doing great. We have 45 closings. We haven't even made a year. You know what I mean? And all of
Gosh.
those properties, we are the ones that are taking care of, our clients' portfolio,
Yeah.
right? Most of my clients have already bought 2, 3 times. And some clients are really like, okay, I want passive.
Mhm.
I don't want anything to do with Airbnb. I'm like, all right, cool. And they just wanna buy 5, 6, 7 properties. They're just passive, right? Just long term, give me some money, I'm good. And so, they tend to get a lot of multifamily properties, which is really hot in Puerto Rico. We're showing people that there's also other areas where you can invest, like, student housing. There's like beautiful universities in Puerto Rico. I think it's like 3 or 4 towns that are super hot to buy multifamily properties and just student housing 4 years in a row, 4 years in a row. So yeah, so that's how that one
I
came.
know, dude. And there's so much that I want to unpack. Like your story is like everything. First off, in a year, 2 years, you already opened 2 more business on top of your credit RX, right? So you gotta look at that. Be proud of yourself because that's a beautiful story, right?
It's a
Two
lot of
new
work.
businesses. And then you got a whole nother. I know there's another business that you guys open, but one thing I want to kind of shed light on, right? First things first is the tax benefits. Okay, I think that's super important to kind of touch base on because when you were on at Credit RX, right? I think you made I guess Puerto Rico became your headquarters, right? I'm assuming.
It, a
And that's
hundred
why, right?
percent.
They became your
Yes.
headquarters, and at that point in time, and we were talking before off camera, 4% corporate tax and then zero capital gains tax,
Yes.
right?
So there is something in Puerto Rico called, it used to be called Act 2022,
Okay.
and it was really done to drive not investors but like
This
businesses
is
to
to
Puerto
Puerto
Rico.
Rico.
So we have huge corporations like Lufthansa,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think I'm saying it wrong, like with my Hispanic
Incredible, incredible.
Lufthansa. We got Procter and Gamble. We
Mm-hmm.
have Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? We have all these huge
I'm
companies
moving
that,
over there.
pharmaceuticals, we're packed with like big companies. So this is not just like rinky dinky small businesses that are,
Nah, these
no,
are some
this is
large
like,
corporations.
this is corporations that are basing their business, their operations in Puerto Rico because it just makes sense.
Well, yeah, 'cause, I mean, you
It
think
makes
about it, and
sense.
for all the people that don't kind of understand taxes, right? The biggest difference is obviously 4% of your money is going to go towards the government versus 30 to 40% of your money going towards the government. Now, if you sell a property, that's another 25 to 30% that's going to the government. Now, Puerto Rico, you sell a property that's 0% that's going to the government, right? So those are things and so much money that you could save for people that don't even understand and know. I didn't know that. I I didn't know that
You know
till
what,
today.
Justin? It's not just that you save, is that you get to
Could
use
reinvest
that
in your
money
business.
to reinvest
Yeah.
it in your business. So when I was here in Chicago, I was in the bracket of like 30, 35%
100%.
because we were making
Yeah.
really good sales. We were like selling, everything. And so when I was here, I was really like 40, 45, $50,000 in taxes. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, think about it. That's like a salary.
Yeah,
You know what I
seriously.
mean? And if you
Seriously.
have call centers internationally, which I do, I have two call centers. I have one in the Philippines and I have one in Colombia. We're talking about a whole packed call center
Yeah.
of people that you can spend with $50,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's not just that, okay, you keep that money in your pocket and you're
You're making
vacationing
somebody, yeah.
more. And
Yeah.
no, you get to reinvest that back in your business and grow it.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing, strategies. You know what I mean? Like if you're not good, I'm not really good at like websites and stuff like that. So I outsource that.
Right.
I do it for me.
And that's money that you can actually put towards those things and those strategies, because obviously we're not good at everything, right?
No,
You
no,
gotta know what your strengths are, right? For me,
absolutely.
I'm the same way. I'm a very outspoken talker person. I love talking. I could talk for days, but for me, organization is something that I need to outsource, right? You tell me calendar, exactly. For example, just to give everybody context of what we're doing right now, I had a buyer now yesterday that reached out to me. It was like, hey, I'm under contract, I'm about to lose my house, I'm about to lose my earnest money, I need you to save the deal. So I called Joanna. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do this, because we
Yeah,
had
he
things
canceled.
scheduled for
He canceled
yesterday.
on me.
So I'm like, so I called. I'm like,
He
don't
called
hate
me
me,
15 minutes
don't
before.
I said, don't
Just
hate me,
kidding, like 2 hours.
don't hate me, but I have, I'm like itching. I'm like, I gotta help him. I gotta help him. And so I call her and I'm like, she's like, okay, I got a flight at 2 o'clock. What can we make work? And I'm like, all right, let's do it in the morning. So I owe her breakfast just for the concert, I
No, no,
think.
no,
But
no. I already had breakfast,
there you
baby.
go.
I'm on
There, never.
steakhouse. And lunch.
You want steakhouse?
Forget
Whatever you
about
want.
that.
Whatever you want.
McDonald's breakfast.
Whatever you want.
Chamagaucha, the one
There
over
you go.
here.
Right here. We're right here. We're going after this. But no, organization. That's something that I would like to outsource and things like that. But if you were to
Absolutely.
utilize those funds that you can actually, instead of paying in taxes, and utilize it in your business, that's a bunch of salaries that you could pay.
It's funny that you say that, because a lot of us business owners, we need to get away from our own selves. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we're not the best at everything. We're
100%.
just not. You need a team. You need key people in key places. You know what I mean? And sometimes like business people are just they think that they do it better,
Right.
and they don't. I remember when I started Credit RX, it was it was a baby, it was a little thing. And when I started hiring, that's when it really took off, because we were sitting down and I was like, all right, what you guys got to offer? Because
Mhm.
I can be the only one like coming up with programs and coming up with strategies. I need to hear you guys. You guys are the ones that are, going out there seeing clients. What are they asking for? And that's how we came up with 25 programs.
Mhm.
We're like I don't know if I'm the only Hispanic credit repair company, but I know we're the best. You know what I mean?
That's all you
Because
need,
we
though.
do, because we're honest, and because we don't lie to people, and because we always tell them like, look, you got to do this and that, and if you don't want to do it, I don't want you as a client.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And so, but business owners have this mentality that, they're better than, than anybody else, and we're not. We're
Mhm.
not. I'm terrible at organization.
Mhm.
Oh my God. And Mari like hates me for that sometimes.
Yeah.
She's like, how do
Yeah.
you keep yourself organized with all this business? And I'm like, I don't even know. I don't
I
know.
just let happen.
I
Whatever happens,
just,
happens.
yeah, I don't even know. It's just crazy. So let me tell you another thing that people hate. They hate to fail.
Mhm.
And then I was reading some statistics about some business stuff, and people have fear of success. Like, I don't know, we're Hispanic, right?
Mhm.
And I know like a lot of our families are, maybe they're not like the most supportive. I have a very supportive family, but I've met people that don't have very supportive family, and they're scared of succeeding because they don't
Mhm.
want their family to think that they're stuck up.
Right. No, I agree. I agree. That's tough. And that's a
Why?
I think that's tough with our community.
That is
I
ridiculous.
think I love our people, right? But I do think the one thing is we hold each other back in some ways, where
Mm-hmm.
we almost see success as it's a negative thing,
It is,
you
yeah.
know.
That's what
And
we
I
see.
think, like you said, failure is something that's super huge, right? I see a lot. One quote that I live by is, and everyone thinks you're an overnight success. When you're successful, everyone thinks it happened overnight,
Mm.
but they didn't see the 120 times that you failed.
Mm.
Right. So those are the things that no one sees, but then they see you, the glory, they see the money, they see, oh my God, they did overnight. They didn't do it, but they didn't see the 120 times that you failed, all the
Mm-hmm.
businesses that you started up that didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
so it takes a lot of time and aspiration in order for you to grow your business. But the things that you're doing, I'm sure it took years for you to develop.
Man, I'm
And
telling you. And you know what? And you get better.
yeah.
You get better. So, and you get better at failing. Because when you fail, you're like, eso no es
What do you mean
nada.
by that?
Eso no es nada. Like, you just, whatever,
I guess what made you feel like you got better at failing? What failure
No,
really
like you
pushed you?
get better, like mentally. Like if you
Okay,
fail, you're
stronger.
like, nah,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. That wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Move on. You know, and I know my dad was always like that. I remember we used to have, oh, we were the first people who brought the body shapers in Chicago.
Ah, really, really.
That Columbia booty lifter, body shaper. We were
Uh-huh.
the first people that got body shapers in Chicago.
Chicago.
I'm like Colombia, Puerto Rico, Chicago. I don't even know what to
Yeah,
say.
you
I don't even know
remember?
what to say. And it was in the flea markets. We used to
Yeah.
go to the flea markets on 26th Street. You
There
know
you
what I
go.
mean?
Them over there.
And
Yep.
we used to sell body shapers and we used to do all of that. And I remember my dad is like, okay, this is not a good business right now. We're gonna do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And who would just pay. And I'm like, oh my God, did we just fail in this business or did we just fail? And he's like, no, it doesn't matter. Let's just move
Just
on.
run with it.
And that's what salespeople do.
Yeah.
That's what salespeople do.
And that's all. That's how. That's the continuous of growth, right? You
Mhm.
just once you surrender yourself to the process of everything, you know that you're eventually going to grow, regardless of whether you fail or not. The failure is just going to be a learning curve for you and how to grow.
Mhm.
And that's all you got to take into consideration. Because when I first got into the business, I was a mentor of somebody who has had 20 years of experience. So
Mm.
what I like to say is I got 20 years of experience through him,
Mhm.
right? I don't have to do anything different. I just follow the past his
But
footsteps of his failures.
but you know what you did? You humble yourself
Yeah,
down and
one
you're
hundred
like, let me
percent.
teach me.
100%.
I know that we're very short on time, but I do want to say this. There was one millionaire guy that took the time to pour into my husband. For every day, he will come and he will bring little books of like how to invest in properties. Puerto Rican from Humboldt Park. He was a Marine, he was a barber at that time, and they took the time to give knowledge to my husband, who didn't know anything about investing. And because of that person taking the time to bring that stuff, our generational wealth started from that point on. And from that point
Skyrocketed.
on, we get to be a blessing to others. Others get to be a blessing to us. And we just, keep pouring into other people. So, man, always humble yourself and let people teach you. People know more than you.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
always know more than
There's
you.
always gonna be someone that's bigger than you, and once you
Absolutely.
realize that, and you try and connect with those who are greater than you, that's when you're gonna see growth, right?
Absolutely.
Because if you're sitting around people who don't invest in properties, who don't do things like that, do you really think you're gonna
Negative.
invest? You know?
Negative. Don't do that. Okay. Have you ever bought? No. Okay. Bye.
Right, next. Now, I think that the first thing I want to touch base on is just the housing in Puerto Rico. I think that interests me a lot, right? Because for perception of people that live in Chicago, right, you've probably owned properties here, and properties that are here, 5 unit buildings that you're talking about would cost anywhere from $500,000,
Oh.
which
Mm-mm.
for people, every unit is $100,000 per unit, right? To
Mm-hmm.
put it in
Mm-hmm.
math, simple math, 5 divided by how each amount of units, $100,000, right? For 500,000. Puerto Rico, what, 120,000? So it's like $20,000 a unit, $25,000 a unit. It's
I think
like,
it's less than that.
and for a 5 unit building.
It depends. So my brother, so my brother used to live in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves me because who doesn't love me. Anyway, he loves me. He's like, man, I'm tired of this, man. I
Mm-hmm.
really want. And I'm like, you need to move here, like now.
Yeah.
So he sold his house in Florida and he moved to Ponce with his whole
Wow.
family, his wife and the 2 kids.
Oh my
And so with the
gosh.
money that he got from the property in Florida, he purchased a 7 unit in Caguas.
My peoples. Mwah. Shout out to my people. That's where my
Shout
family's
out,
from.
shout out. He bought a 7 unit in Caguas, and it was $100,000. 100,000. I think he put in about maybe 50, 60, give or take, and he's fully renting it, Section 8, the heck out of it, and it's
So
really
something
good.
like that, how much would he cash flow?
So somewhere, it's around 54 to 60,000 a year, somewhere
Okay.
around there. That's how much it
Dude.
brings in rents.
And does he
It's
work over there or
sweet.
no?
He moved. His company was able to move into Puerto Rico.
He's
Yes.
so like it's set.
Yeah, he's an engineer. He's
Smart.
I'm
Yeah.
he's the smart. I'm the beauty.
Uh-huh. I say that all the time. I ain't the smartest person in the world. I don't need to be, you know?
I don't my brother is very smart. I'm a hustler.
Yeah, same. I'm
You know what I
exactly
mean?
like
Like
that.
I make things happen, but he's just bright.
But you're a people's person, you know.
Yeah.
I got family
So
that's like that. They're engineers but they're
yeah.
like medical engineer where they got, bro, they're smart. All the stuff that he's taught, coding and all that stuff. I don't know any of
No,
that,
no, I
and
don't
I
want
don't
to
need
know.
to. You know,
I
that's
put it together and I'll sell it for you.
yeah, that's exactly how I. Yeah, I'll talk to as many people as I need to sell your product.
So
You
my
know.
brother bought that 7 unit for 100,000, and then he bought a very nice property in Ponce as well, overlooking the ocean, for like
Oh my
$45,000, like something
gosh,
ridiculous.
bro.
My property in Mayagüez that I bought, that I'm already turning into a student housing, I bought it for $75,000. This baby brings about $4,500 to $5,000 a month in rental income,
Mm-hmm.
because we rent it by rooms, because it's
Right.
student housing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you get more money from renting per room. And so if anyone wants to invest in Puerto Rico, student housing is a good strategy.
And
If
she's
you
your
don't,
girl.
yeah, oh
She's
yeah,
your girl. You
yes.
hit her up.
Johanna Diaz Inc.
There you go.
So yeah,
Um,
so you get stuff like that, right? So 4 units for
it's
125.
crazy, man.
We closed on one in Humacao, which is no, you know what? We just closed one for one of our clients in Dorado. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is like prime
Yeah.
location. 2 units for 125.
Oh my
So like you get to do stuff like that in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the one thing I really want to shout out is your Airbnb business. Like that's
Yes.
it's crazy. And then I know that the first transaction, this is here, a lot more expensive, right?
Mm.
My first client that I ever closed, right? She bought a 3 unit building. Okay, she's Airbnb in 1 unit. It's covering her mortgage, utilities. I think she cash flows, let's say $3,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
So. And this is like a $450,000 property, right? Now, imagine that in Puerto Rico where your property is like $120,000 and how much you could cash flow, how much people could take advantage of it. And also you're providing housing for people.
Yeah.
Ultimately, like that's what a lot of people I feel they have a negative idea of renting properties because they think that we're taking advantage of people who are doing this, but ultimately you're providing housing for somebody. You know, you're not doing anything other than if I want to go on vacation, okay, I'm gonna hit up Joanna. Okay, yo, hey, I want to use one of
Absolutely.
your properties, and it's a benefit for everybody. You're gonna make money, and I'm gonna enjoy the benefit of staying in your Airbnb.
Yeah.
So shed light on that. I know one of your best properties. I don't want to get too deep into your personal life, but just so
But
that
let's do it.
but let's do it. Let's jump into it. How much do you make on your best property, and why should someone invest in Airbnb from it?
Absolutely. So I do want to go back a little bit
Okay.
to what you said earlier. So I think that us investors and people who are bringing investors to anywhere, like it doesn't just have to be the island. You also have to look into the culture and you have to look into their needs, because there is a huge need in Puerto Rico for long-term rentals, right? And I think that if investors are wiser, you don't have to do all portfolio Airbnb. What happens when a hurricane comes? Your place is going to be absolutely empty. And so you also have to think about what the need is in that particular place. So what do I do with my investors? They always want to do Airbnbs in the beginning, and we do it. The first one, boom, let's get you an Airbnb, that's fine. But then what's next? Oh, another Airbnb. And I'm like, okay, slow down a little bit, like we can't put all of our eggs in one basket. So let's like diversify. And so my investors are going from like the property for Airbnb to maybe like a multi-unit with maybe one Airbnb and the other one, the other 3 units long-term rental. Because I feel like if you have a need and you have something to, meet the need, you're gonna be successful as well. Maybe not at the rapid pace of like an Airbnb, but I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be more stable than anything else that you do, right? So Airbnbs are hot. Everybody wants to do Airbnbs. It's pretty saturated. There's some areas that are very saturated, but if you know how to do it, you could be very successful. So I run my Airbnb business as a marketing and salesperson. I don't run it as a tourist company. My call center in Colombia runs all my operations of Airbnb. And so I have a person that strictly does all the marketing. So we literally, like you guys, collecting leads. We collect all of our leads for the year prior, and we start boosting the heck out of other properties that we get. Hey, visit Puerto Rico because this is what we have now. Hey, 787 Vacation Rentals has this property. We started with only 3, and now we are up to 16 Airbnbs by the end of this year. And all of them have been my investors, myself, my husband and I, of course, and just developing everything, right? My best property right now is the one in San Juan. That's the one that is the most rented. Of course, it's San Juan, right? So we're gonna have more success when it comes to booking occupancy rate, right? But the one that brings the most money are the ones that are in the mountains. You see, because the ones that are in the mountains, people just want to retreat. They want to go, to other places. They want to pay $300 a night. They don't care. In my San Juan properties, they're paying 89, $100 a night. A lot of traffic, but then you have these mountain properties that are like, beautiful with pools, and they're $300 and $350 a night. But so going back to the San Juan property, right? So we have a 4 unit in San Juan. Only one of the units is Airbnb. That one's bringing between $6,000 to $8,000 a month, right? I mean, come on.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
No brainer.
and for people that want to get into this space, obviously you have the knowledge of it, and it's smart, right? You got a long-term rental, right? That's cash flowing, right? Let's just say they got a year, 2 year lease. Okay, you guaranteed a year to 2 years. Obviously, if they don't
Absolutely.
pay, there's different risk behind it, but this should cover the risk of the Airbnb. And if your Airbnb is working, then you're cash flowing. You're making the money on it. And I'm going to talk to you about the mountain property because I'm going in May. So
Like, you know
we don't have
what?
time.
We bought a 23-acre property in Las Marias. This is
Mhm.
like a hole in the wall.
Mhm.
I know one things about Las Marias, and the we're trying our best to be able to develop it as soon as possible. We have a lot of things going on, but there is a property for other colleagues that have a property in Las Marias, and it literally is like a triangle with a
Mhm.
pool. That's all they
Mm.
got. But it's
Mhm.
like beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's called El Chalet del Campo. And it's like the property is ridiculous. It's like a
Mhm.
little rinky dinky tiny, whatever. This thing is packed. It's $400 a night. You
Wow.
barely get any like one day, 2 days of the month
Wow.
are empty. It's crazy. So like if you think outside the box, like okay, so yes, San Juan is beautiful. Yes, Carolina is very profitable. Luquillo's crazy. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? The West Coast is great, but like where are people not open? Where is it not saturated?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that I can make something special, nice for a couple. I love couples.
Yeah.
I hate big groups. They're
Yeah.
too obnoxious
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But the small groups are really cool. Like the couple is really cool because it's like a retreat, like a
Mhm.
romantic whatever. And it's profitable. So yeah, so Puerto Rico, a lot of people ask me like where would you invest in Puerto Rico? Honestly, take a map, close your eyes and put a finger on it. Ahí.
Yeah. And you're
Ahí. Like
yeah.
wherever you point it, ahí.
Uh huh.
It's the best investment because you could diversify, you could do whatever.
Yeah, and I
So
want to I want to dive into your businesses as well because I know you have I believe five.
5, yeah.
So you have Credit RX, you have 787, then you
Vacation
have
rentals,
the construction company,
yes.
Airbnb.
So Credit
Okay,
RX,
Credit RX.
787 Vacation Rentals. We
Mhm.
have Constructora Revamp, which is the remodeling company that's run by my
Uh
husband.
huh.
And all the money comes to me.
Yeah. Happy
I
wife,
keep
happy
the
life.
money. He's like, man, let me see some hundred. No,
No.
we don't have a budget for that.
That's for
And
me.
yeah, that's right. And then we have 77 vacation. Oh my goodness, I lost count. I lost
I
count.
know.
No, Milestone Group, which is the brokerage. And then we
Awesome.
most
Okay.
recently opened up one, and it was because we failed at something and we had to turn that sucker around. Yeah, so
Oh.
we wanted to do something that was a little bit different. We put all of our coins into the call center in Puerto Rico, and then we started seeing that we needed to kind of like switch our strategy. And so what we did is we flipped it and we sent the operations to other call centers, and then we only kept a couple people in our Puerto Rico call center only for marketing purposes because we wanted to
Mm.
keep people that were actually like bringing money to the business. So now we have this big old office, beautiful office, right? With so many desks and so many private little areas. And then I'm like, man, there's no co-working spaces in Mayagüez.
Yeah.
And Mayagüez is known for like, business,
Business. Yeah.
industrial stuff, And so I'm like, you know what? Sharing is caring.
There you
And we
go.
came up with the name Sharing is Caring, and that's our co-working. So we
Ah.
LLC it, and we started the packages, and now we have 7 people already like asking for. We just posted it like a week and a
Right.
half ago.
Right. You see how social media works, though.
You know
You see
what?
how
And
crazy it
and just
is.
don't be afraid of failing. I don't think that I failed. I just think that, when something is not working, you can't just you can't try to make it work. Like if
Yeah.
it's just not working, turn it around, adjust it, and make something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's always an opportunity to improve in some areas.
But at what point did you know that it was failing and when to actually cut your losses?
No, man, when I was losing money, I was like, no, yo no puedo perder plata. No matter.
Well,
This
how
is not,
long? How long? How
this
many
is,
months did it take? Like
it took, it took like nine months,
9 months.
10
So you're like,
months.
yeah.
I figure, when you're a business owner, sometimes you think with your heart, and you want to be a blessing to families, and you want to be a blessing to, like you have the single moms working for you, and but at the end of the day, if you don't have skin in my game, I don't want you. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
like if you are my employee, I want to see what you're added value. What are you adding to me?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm adding a salary to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm putting food on your table, and this is very humbly. I'm not saying
No,
that,
yeah,
you know what I
100%.
mean? But if I'm doing this for you, every couple weeks, you got your checking in your account.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There's no
No
guarantee.
questions asked,
Mm-hmm.
whether you perform or didn't. So I want to see that you're actually being an added value to my business.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I know people say, "Oh, you got to give without expecting to receive." No,
Yeah.
I'm expecting to receive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if I have a very close net, like I have a very close circle of people, and I tell you, I don't even ask them for anything. I
Mm-hmm.
demand that they do things, because if they demand for me to do it, I do it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like you got to get to that relationship where, it's a two-way.
Yeah.
So I figure, the call center was getting a little bit heavy on my finances, and I was starting to feel like I was kind of like getting money from other businesses so that I can, put it into the call center in Puerto Rico. And I'm like, this is not what I want. So
Right.
we started switching things around, and I only made like sales and marketing for Puerto Rico in Puerto Rico,
Mm-hmm.
and it took off.
That's
We
fucking
opened doors
crazy.
in Puerto Rico, and it just took off. We have many, many clients that are coming to the office, and then now with the co-working space, that's helping out too. So
Yeah.
adjust a little bit.
You're a fucking beast. Dude. You're a beast, and I love it. You know, I love it. I love it. And you're honestly, truly, this is exactly what I want to grow. I want to grow multiple businesses at one point in time. I'm focusing on what I'm good at right now.
That's right.
But it's just once you get to a certain point, and you have the money where you feel as if you could start opening stuff up and start investing in
Absolutely.
other things. That's when I feel like you should do it.
You have to.
So this is a perfect example for you guys, right? This is a woman who started in a corporate world, built a one company, and built five within a 5 to 10 year span, right? This is something that you
That
guys
sounds
could
good.
do, right? And it truly is. It's the dream that everyone wants to do, but they're scared about taking the risk,
Yep.
right? And you're truly gonna learn to be successful the minute that you learn to take risk, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like for you, everybody that's watching, she's your girl. She will take care of the construction, the Airbnb portion, the investing plan. All that's going to be included in Puerto Rico. So if you're looking to invest in my homeland, I'm Mexican, Puerto Rican, my people. So if you're looking to invest, you got my girl over here to help you in that light, and also credit repair. She has so many different accolades. So I really, truly do appreciate you for coming out the bottom
And
of
I
my
do
heart.
want to say thank you. I know you have been a blessing to my credit repair company. I know
Thank you.
you, Ermari loves you, and we
Yeah.
appreciate your business. And I know you're always moving and doing things. And you know what? Just remember, guys, faith with no actions is dead. If you want to do something, you have to execute it. That's what the Bible says, baby. You
There
got
you
to
go.
execute it.
There you go.
Don't just leave it in the dream. Just do it. Do it. Who cares if you fail?
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate everybody for watching. If you guys do need anything from us, we'd absolutely love to help you in any way that we possibly can. If you can, like, subscribe, have your cafecito on deck, and hope you guys have a great day.